You're watching an economic update on Sweden. Swedish growth was disappointing in the third quarter. I'm joined by Olle Holmgren, an economist at SEB in Stockholm. Now, despite this negative news, there are signs of strength in the domestic economy, including rising investment. So, are you expecting a rate cut by Riksbank in December, and is it actually needed?
Free growth was a bit weaker than we expected, but given that there were some upward revisions to the first growth in the first half of the year, it gave kind of a mixed impression. And if anything, I think there will be small upward adjustments to the Riksbank's forecast for the average growth in this year. We, however, continue to expect the Riksbank to cut the rate by 25 basis points in December, and the reason for this is that inflation has been below the Riksbank's expectations once again. Our forecasts for growth are not that different from the Riksbank's, and we see GDP for next year accelerating to 2.5%, driven by private consumption, and this is close to the Riksbank's view.
And I mentioned positive signs in the domestic economy earlier. Now the recent consumer confidence is much stronger than last year, and the fact consumer spending grew 2.1% in the third quarter actually reinforces this. So do you think we will see this confidence continue?
Well, we've seen quite strong improvement in consumer confidence over the last few months. We think that this can continue. Despite the weak GDP growth, we have seen decently strong labor market where employment has been growing at a steady pace this year, and there are signals that it can accelerate somewhat going into 2014. Also, we are seeing stronger signs that house prices are rising, and we think that this will also contribute to rising consumer sentiment.
And looking at the Swedish krona, what sort of trading patterns are we seeing, and what are the driving factors?
Krona weakened somewhat after the ECB rate cut, which is explained that this was a trigger also for the market pricing larger probabilities for a rate cut also in Sweden, and this became even stronger after the low inflation number we saw in October. After the latest data, and also including the GDP numbers today, we've seen some volatility, but the krona has not really moved that much. After today's GDP number, there was initially some weakening of the krona, but then it came back again. Our view is that if the Riksbank cuts in December as we expect, we think that the krona can weaken above 9 to compared to the euro. But we expect this to be temporary, and when Swedish growth picks up, we think the krona will strengthen again.
And finally, Danish quarterly economic growth surpassed that of Sweden for the second quarter in a row. So what are the driving factors that are pushing Denmark ahead of Sweden? Do you think this economic success will continue for Denmark?
Factors that are increasing Danish growth is domestic factors. We are seeing stronger investments and improvements in both private and public consumption. We think that Denmark is leaving the worst troubles behind. We're seeing that the housing market is starting to improve, and we think that the Danish economy will grow at around 2% next year after being largely stable this year. means that Danish growth now will be more in line what we are seeing in Sweden.
Thank you very much for that. Well, that is it for right now, but make sure you have a pleasant weekend. Goodbye for now.